Hey, it's Mitch with Englewood Camera, and Canon has released the 90D, which is another DSLR. And is that still worth it with so many mirrorless options available at the same price point? Today we're going to shoot with it in a kind of overcast downtown Denver today and see if this camera is still worth it to pick over some of those really nice mirrorless options. So Canon has made a lot of versions of this camera, and now we're on to the 90D. And not much has changed. You could be forgiven for thinking this was a 70D or an 80D, but we should go over some of the key differences on this camera, because there are a few. Canon's ergonomics have always been great, and it's only gotten easier now. And this is a slight change, but they've added a little bit deeper cutout on the end of the screen to make it easier to manipulate this fully articulating screen. That's a nice touch. I'm glad they did that. Just makes the camera more pleasant to shoot with. Another change to the outside of the camera I'm really appreciating, because the running theme now of these videos is that it's October and I'm getting colder a lot quicker, and now my hands are cold. But there's a joystick on this camera, and that's making navigating the menus a lot easier. I love any camera with a joystick, and once you use one, you'll wish you had one on every camera you've used. Really glad they added this. It's a super nice addition. Change isn't always a good thing with these cameras, and especially with Canon, if it isn't broken, they don't fix it. And the grip is a good example of that. This is still an excellent grip. It hasn't really changed since the 80D, 70D, 60D, as long as I can remember. But the grip still feels excellent in my hand, and I hope it stays that way for a while. Canon seems to just nail it with their ergonomics, and this feels awesome to hold on to. Biggest change to this camera we can't actually see from the outside, because this camera's rocking a brand new 32 megapixel sensor. It's 2019, 24 megapixels is getting kind of old. So we're gonna test out that new resolution power as we shoot today. This camera is proving that things are moving in a different direction from DSLRs. And the reason I say that is because I'm finding that I'm using the rear LCD screen, or live view, a whole lot more than I'd be using the optical viewfinder. For the longest time, using live view was slow and painful, but now with greater technology advancements like Canon's own dual pixel autofocus and the phase detect from Sony and Fuji, on-sensor focusing has become so good that it's actually faster and more accurate to use the rear LCD screen, even on this camera, than it is to use the OVF. If you still like OVFs, there's nothing wrong with that, and the OVF on this camera is great. It's 100% coverage. It's 45-point autofocus, but it's still pretty quick. But yeah, it's hard to compete with how accurate and fast this LCD screen is. It's a little bit weird. So that begs the question of if a DSLR is still worth it when it's compared to some of the more advanced and quicker mirrorless cameras that are in the same price point. And I think yes, it's still worth it. Maybe not for a first-time buyer, but if you're already a Canon EFS user and you already have EFS lenses, maybe you have an older Rebel body like a T3i or something, and you just want to get a little bit more out of it, but you like the lenses you have. There are some excellent lens choices available for EFS still, and tons of used options as well, which are way more affordable than going to a brand new Fuji or a Sony system where you're really going to spend a lot. Things like the Sigma 18-35, the 1.8, that lens is spectacular, and it would pair great with a camera like this. Another thing that should impact your decision about this camera is that 32 megapixel sensor. It is making a difference up here, especially shooting these detailed buildings like this. And it's one of the only APS-C cameras that has a resolution that high, other than Canon's own M6 Mark II that they release alongside this one. But it is a really nice feature to have, and it's really going to help out with landscapes or wildlife photography. I do think the 90D is a great wildlife camera because it does offer a lot of features that are compelling for a wildlife shooter, like the extra resolution and the weather sealing, the bigger body, and the nice battery life. And there's an abundance of lenses available that you can choose from that get you that extra reach that you need as a wildlife shooter, like this Tamron 150-600, which is an affordable option, and Canon also has a lot of used lenses that are long as well. And it's getting kind of dark, and we are in Denver, so there's not a ton of wildlife out here, but we're finding some birds and geese to shoot, and we're gonna test out kind of that high ISO range as well with this camera and see if we can get some nice images. Okay, I don't know what kind of bird this is that I'm shooting, but he's kindly sitting still, and I'm glad he is, because that's the one thing I don't really like about this camera is the autofocus system they chose to implement in the actual viewfinder. It's only a 45-point autofocus system, and that's kind of letting me down. Some birds have already flown by that I missed because it's not the best tracking system in the world. I kind of wish they implemented something like the 7D Mark II's autofocus system. That would have made things a little bit easier for wildlife shooting. We're losing light really fast, and it's pushing the limits of this APS-C sensor. Although it's doing a fairly respectable job, especially with Canon's Digic 8 processor. Although I'm noticing a little bit noise than I would like. It is 32 megapixels, and I can't give it too hard of a time. We also get 10 frames per second now in this camera, which is excellent, but it's not perfect when you're using the viewfinder. Like I said, I've missed a couple shots that way, but in the live view screen, it's gonna work a little bit better, so it's still nice to have that. Overall, the image quality all day has been very good. I'm pleased with it, and I think that's one of the stronger points of this camera is that the image quality is solid. So does a DSLR like the 90D still compete in today's market against mirrorless systems from Sony and Fuji? It's tough to say. It's hard to keep convincing people that this is the way to go when those cameras offer so many great features at the same price point. However, I still did enjoy shooting with this camera today. The joystick is a nice addition, and the extra 32 megapixels is great to shoot with. Overall, I think if you're a Canon shooter, you're really going to enjoy this, and if you still prefer that optical viewfinder, this is definitely an excellent camera to choose in 2019. But if you're a first-time buyer, it might be time to look at a mirrorless option. I want to talk about the cold. I know, but another new addition to this camera is the joystick, and it's already getting kind of cold, which is helping because my hands are cold. So no, I liked the first one. The first one was like perfect. Let me watch the first one, see if it was actually bad.